Hello everyone, we are the group number 4 and today I will be presenting together with my colleagues the project we did regarding the virtual mining project proposal, which is to take place in a village in Spain called Santa Bárbara de Casa. The group is composed by me, Giovanni Martins, Gabriel Oitinho and Juliette Christens, that will also be in this video. Apart from that, the company we created is called Minería Santa Bárbara de Casa, Minería hacia el futuro. Mining towards the future. So the agenda of this presentation will pretty much follow the structure of the report, which is the introduction, mining motivation, regulations and legislations of the Spanish government, infrastructures, health and safety, environmental impacts, social and corporate responsibility, and then finally the economical analysis. So the introduction, the first thing to clarify in this project is that the idea of the project is to bring a deposit, a mining venture that is already happening in Poland, in 3 cities, mainly in the new copper district, and the idea is to bring that for another location, in our case in Santa Bárbara de Casa in Spain, and to understand how this project would behave with the intricacies of that place. So mining Santa Bárbara, of course, requires a lot of studies, meticulous studies and analysis, and this will be analyzed at the different components in this report. Next, the deposit. So the first thing we should understand when we look to this kind of project is to understand the deposit we have, what we are taking from the earth that we are so interested. And the thing that this deposit has is good concentrations of copper and also silver. It's a copper-silver deposit. The copper concentration is around 1.82%, and silver around 50 grams per ton. So the current estimates in the new copper district, which is composed by actually 3 mines, Luban, Polkovic and Rudna, those are mines that are currently operating, is more than 30 megatons of copper and more than 86 kilotons of silver, with a life of mining for more than 50 years. There's a lot of chalcopyrite there and also other copper-bearing minerals, and they are mining those copper minerals together with silver since 1068, which is quite a long time.
So opening a mine in Santa Bárbara is an opportunity for the Spain government and the European Union. So first, copper has been classified as a strategic mineral by the EU since last year. It's a difficult element to substitute, and it's widely used, especially in the electricity field. Currently, the EU heavily relies on the import of copper, especially from China. So the diversification of copper sources is very important, and this will secure a new source of copper while making Spain and the EU more self-sufficient. And it's also an economic opportunity for the country and the region, thanks to copper and other valuable byproducts such as gold or platinum group metals. It's also an increase of the importance of Spain as a major producer of copper at an international level. We can also say that Andalusia is already a mining region, with 40% of the total national copper who is already coming from there. So the region is already promoting mining activity a lot. Then with the geographical proximity with Portugal, this mine could be an opportunity for a cooperation between both countries, and obviously it's also a job opportunity. And since Andalusia has above 20% of unemployment, this is a very big advantage. And finally, opening a mine is an opportunity for the region to promote the new mining strategy which align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The regulation and legislation of mining activity is primarily defined by the Spanish Constitution and the law of 1973 on mining. So while the states have exclusive powers over basic mining law, autonomous communities such as Andalusia can have their own rules regarding some parts of the law. Mining operations are subject to authorization depending on the types of mineral. The process involves obtaining a permit, and for underground mineral exploitation requires a specific permit with limitation on the period time. So royalties and taxes are collected on exploration and prospective permits, mining permits and concession, with fee varying between autonomous communities. These fees and royalties are the only sources of economic benefit from the government. Civil responsibility includes sanction for minor, serious and very serious violation with fines and possible loss of the mining rights. Finally, environmental impact assessments are required by the law for certain mining prospects, and regulation also requires that measures has to be taken to prevent or reduce negative effects on the environment and the health of humans.
So now let's talk about the infrastructures of the project, mainly the water access, because we are doing flotation, but we need a lot of water. Of course, we need electricity, and most important, we need to find a ways to transport not only the employees and equipment, but also the copper we are producing. So that's what we are going to discuss now. So let's start with the accessibility. In this mine, it's a very big mine. We are talking about more than 9 square kilometers of area and more than 2,050 tons of copper produced per day, which would require more than 27 to 28 trucks, the big trucks that are the highway trucks, to bring this copper to the port. That's actually a point that we are kind of lucky, because here close to Gibraltar we have one of the largest ports in Europe, the port of Algeciras, and it's only 400 kilometers from the village, from Santa Bárbara de Casa. What happens is that in the first few kilometers between the village and the port, we don't have highways, we have only national roads. Those are very poor condition roads. They are asphalt, but they don't even have the extra line in the sides. So maybe the company would need to do some investments in the roads in order to bring all these trucks every day to the port. Apart from that, in the rest of the way, we have highways, and it takes about 4.5 hours to get there and to come back. Now, regarding water supply, that's quite a problem, because we are talking about the south of Spain and also like the south of Portugal. Those are arid regions. So mainly the summer, it's dry regions. The water is not very available, which is bad because the rain is very cease. So we need to find ways to get this water. What happens is that there is a big lake, a reservoir close to the mine. Is actually 20 kilometers to the south region, and this reservoir can definitely supply the water needs we have. In this project we are talking about more than 100,000 cubic meters per day. That's a lot, but this reservoir, it's big enough. We would just need to build a pipeline that is connecting the reservoir that is 20 kilometers away to the mine. Of course, we need a huge pumping station, because we are talking about a huge flow, but it's possible. It just needs some investments to get the water. And of course, with the tailings, we are also recycling some water, and we are also pumping water from the mines in the lower levels to the surface, so we can also use the water. And last but not less important, the energy supply. This is the energy grid in Spain. As you can see here in red are the high tension zones, lines, and in green the medium tension zones. This is quite good because we are pretty much here in the middle, and we have not far away in the north we have a corridor of high tension lines, so we can connect easy in the grid. It's only 45 kilometers north.
So in Spain, mining operations are subject to safety regulations set by the law. In addition to that, the guidelines about prevention of risk and general health and safety of workers are provided by the government. So an example of underground mine safety policy in the region is the Matsa mine, which is 40 minutes driving from the project. So this mine prioritizes safety with zero accident approach. It's this include strong procedure, safety campaign, and health promotion initiatives, which really contribute to a strong safety culture in the company and that's what we want. So we need to be careful regarding some aspects, including insufficient training, since poor training can lead to hazard, injuries, and fatalities. We also need to be careful about the workers' mental health. It's really critical since a worker with problems can make mistakes in their job, leading to accident or decrease of the efficiency. And finally, the carelessness. So if repetitive tasks are done, workers can be less aware of their work, and this could lead to potential mistakes and risks. So some safety practices that we can put in place include what are listed so on the screen. So lifting precaution, wearing protective clothing, ventilate toxic gas, and so on.
Now let's take a look at the environmental impact. Unfortunately, any mining venture comes with a big environmental footprint because of course it's a very intense activity, a lot of electricity, a lot of earth movement. So there are many impacts, of course, that should be analyzed, especially in a developed country which has strict legislation regarding the environment. The first thing we take a look is the vegetation and fauna and also the landscape degradation. The zone is located quite close to a protected zone from the Rede Natura 2000, which is kind of an issue because these are protected zones and absolutely nothing can happen in that area. Apart from that, there are some endangered species in this area. Some are birds and some are trees that should be, of course, protected as well. And there will be a huge landscape degradation. The zone is not super flat, so there would be also necessity of doing maybe some nivelization of the earth, which of course will completely change the landscape, the natural landscape of the zone. This is probably an issue because we are in a close to protected area and in a very touristic region of the mining. And apart from that, the tailings and the mining reclamation, this is a big issue because we are doing flotation, we are producing tailings. Those tailings, we know that sometimes they have high chemical elements concentration that are very likely undesirable for the environment. So we will have a tailing dam to put the tailings. This tailing dam will provide some recycling water to the flotation as well. However, many chemicals will remain in the tailings dam. Of course, there will be a gel membrane to protect the soil underneath the dam, and we are talking about volumes of 100,000 tons of tailing per day. That's a huge number. We need a very big dam for that, and we are very worried about the mining reclamation because when we close the mine, the dam will be still there. So we need to think not only in the end of the process, but during the process, what we are going to do when we finish the operations. And that's the reason we are very taking care of this dam, because we don't want to acid mine drainage. It's a very common issue when you are processing mainly sulfides, because these sulfides, they start reacting with the oxygen in the atmosphere and the water, and they start forming acids. So the pH starts decreasing, and that's a huge problem for everything here around, because acidity will kill every microorganism in the area, will kill the trees, will destroy the soil. So that's something we want to avoid, and to do that we need to work during the operation. So there are several issues we need to monitor and to take care during the operations in order to do that.
So Spain's population is more supportive of mining activities than most of the European countries. In Andalusia, mining is part of the lifestyle, and it's a real benefit for the local economy. So some initiatives can be taken in order to create a good relationship with the local community. So for instance, the region have a rich ecosystem which should be preserved, and this could be helped by mine initiatives. This could be communication campaign on the protected area, and it will be at the same time it would attract more tourists, which will be great to the town economy. Since the area is mostly agricultural, providing scholarship will encourage people to continue their study in order to pursue hard-skilled job, which could be valorized in the mine activity. So it's a win-win. And the dolmen of Zatirda which is an historical site not far from the town, is actually in very bad shape, and the mine could help to maintain this historical site in a good state. And finally, the most important one, the mining will create a job opportunity. Inspiring from the Matsa mine, our project could have 80% of the workforce coming from the area.
For the economic analysis, we are going to explain the lifestyle of mine, the ore processing refinery, the metal prices, and the project NPV. The economic analysis of the lifestyle of mine is based on the current reserves, and with the annual production of 29 to 30 million tons per year of ore, the current reserves are estimated to last 51 years. It's worth noting that with the further exploration, the resources might come up to reserve, extending the lifetime of mine. And this is the ore extraction the table is explaining, with the reserves of 1.6 billion tons of ore at 1.82 percentage of copper and 52 grams per ton of silver. That leads to around 30 million tons of contained copper. And this ore is mined through underground methods since of the depth, and it's mined through conventional room and pillar methods, which are managed through some risks that are associated with surface subsidence, geothermal gradient, and also rock burst failures. Many works are done to find the optimal layout, and now currently we are going to use backfilling for the mine areas. Since we are considering 3 mines in this project, those are the productions for each mine based on the daily capacity and average content. So we got to around 112 kilotons per day. That leads to the total required minimum production with an average 1.36% of copper with 55% 3.3 gram per ton of silver, which will feed the ore concentrators and the refinery. Concentrator is done through the conventional crushing, grinding, and flotation cells, which are further go to a dewatering and drying step, so to generate the final concentrator. And the crushing start by underground goes through 3 steps of grinding and classification and 3 steps of flotation, also with a cleaner and a recleaner. And the thickening is done by the thickening tanks, which will reduce the moisture content of the material and go to a further drying. The concentration plant is feeding 30 million tons of ore per year, which gives a certain relaxation for the mine, which is mining 2 million tons more per year. And the feed grade is around 1.6%. That's done through the blending of different materials from the mine. And the final product will generate a concentrate with a copper grade of 23% and a silver grade of 625 grams per ton, which will feed the refinery. This is also generating 28.1 million tons of tailings per year, and part of these tailings are going to be used for backfilling in the mine. So for the economic analysis, processing and refining, we are coming with the initial product and of the concentrate and passing through the shaft furnaces, which will generate a different currents of products. But finally, we are producing electrolytic copper and refined silver at these figures per year, so 0.5 million tons per year and 44.8 million ounces per year of silver. And at current metal prices, we are using the average done by 2023, which is the average for the copper at $8,625 per ton, and for silver it's a median of $24.85 per ton. Having those values as average, we can calculate the NPV. So before coming to that, we are the access to capital for our investments in this company is divided into 3 main investors, which are the European Regional Development Fund. As mentioned before, this project is interesting for Europe's independence in copper production. And we're going to the European Investment Bank, which also is known to have invested in such projects. And the Spanish government has a national plan fund, national mining plan fund, which will count for almost 10% of this project. And to analyze the differences between Spain and Poland, some comparisons of the operational costs were done, especially in the fuel, energy, and labor costs. And we can see the differences here on this table. Poland has a lower fuel cost than Spain, but the energy is actually higher in Poland, and labor is cheaper. But when we combine them all, we have a composed minus 12% cost when we bring those operational costs to Spain. However, we have to consider that the corporate tax, income tax, is higher in Spain. So it's in Poland it's 19% and in Spain it's 25%. This was considered on the NPV calculations. And when you calculate the NPV, when you plot the cumulative NPV, we can see that on the year 5, with the initial investments, we can achieve the payback of the project. Since then is an increasing curve. At around year 20, more or less, we reach a plateau. And this plateau will keep increasing until, because we are considering a constant investment in innovation, and we have the final NPV of $1.1 billion for this project, which is a positive NPV, and this is indicative of a profitable project with a long time. And if we keep the analysis of the innovations and these values can, the operational costs can be decreased.
Okay, those are the topics that were presented during the presentation. I hope this gave a good idea what this project is going to be about. And now, considering all the benefits regarding this activity and also the drawbacks that are mainly environmental and financial ones, it's up to the investors to decide whether or not carry on with this amazing mining venture. Thank you, everybody.